Namaskar. The topic of discussion in this module is on streams and drainages. Physical geography is a major branch of earth science. It involves the study of various geomorphic processes under the branch called as geomorphology. Geomorphology deals with the study of various geological agents that act on the surface of the earth. These agents form various relief features over the globe. Geomorphology is the study of earth's landscapes and landforms, the processes by which these landforms are originated, their age and the nature of the materials which are underlying them. Geomorphic processes are everlasting phenomena acting on the surface of the earth. They are of two kinds, as endogenous processes and exogenous processes. Those processes that are acting on the surface of the earth are called as exogenous processes. Those processes that are acting beneath the surface of the earth are called as endogenous processes. Exogenous processes are those that are acting on the surface of the earth on the rocks and surface materials continuously. The factors responsible for these processes are earth's rotation and revolution, sun's radiant energy, temperature, climate, rainfall, earth's acceleration due to gravity, hydrological cycle, states of transformation of matter and conservation of mass and energy. The geomorphic processes involve erosion, transportation and deposition processes. All these are cyclical in nature. All put together is called as the geomorphic cycle. During erosion, transportation and deposition, the impacts could be noticed in the form of new landforms and modification of existing landforms. Landforms are developed due to these actions. Several factors are influencing for erosion. The notable factors are climate, temperature, moisture, wind blow and radiation, topography, soil profile, geology and structure and drainages. Drainages are controlled by the running water and other aerial agents. River is a major geomorphic agent in this process. River is a powerful geomorphic agent. It has the potential to erode, transport and deposit the materials on various portions of the earth. Fluvial geomorphology is the study of landforms and processes that are associated with rivers. There are twofold action seen in rivers. One is the formation of the valleys and another one is the formation of the drainage systems. A river is evolved from a large number of small network of streams. A stream is a course of surface water flowing on land. Study of streams is a part of physical geography. Hence, in this lesson the following aspects are highlighted: stages of stream development, types of streams, drainage patterns, features of river courses and the drainage basins. Let us see the first part, stages of stream development. If you look at the world's water distribution, about 71% of the earth's surface is covered by water. Most of the earth's water is in the form of oceans, that is 97.2% exist in the oceans. Less than 3% of the water on the earth is located on or beneath the continents and most of that is in the form of ice, that is roughly about 2.15% is existing in the form of ice. About 0.001% of the earth's water is in the atmosphere and only 0.0001% is contained in the world's river systems. Despite the low proportion of water in the streams, running water is the most important erosional agent on this earth. Running water supplies about 8% of the electricity used in various countries and it serves as the primary source of drinking water, water for industrial and irrigational purposes, and it is also used for inland waterways as for transportation. The study of streams is a very interesting aspect in geography. Streams are varying in their width from few centimeters to several kilometers and are all occupying large areas in different countries and continents. A river is a large natural body of flowing water. It is a historically significant location for the world's most of the ancient civilizations. Rivers are aquatic ecosystems with freshwater resources. The term is similar to streams, but a river is a larger course of inland waterway than a stream. A stream is a body of flowing water with a current confined within a bed and its stream banks. Streams are important as conduits in the hydrological cycle. Streams support for groundwater recharge. Streams vary in their width from a few centimeters to several kilometers. Streams serve as corridors for fish and wildlife migration. The biological habitat in the immediate vicinity of a stream is called as a riparian zone. The study of streams and the inland waterways is known as surface hydrology. Let us see the parts of a stream. A spring is the point at which a stream emerges from an underground seepage source through joints or fissures or fractures. The term headwaters is used to denote the part of a stream or a river having its close proximity to its source. Every stream will have its own confluence. The term confluence is used to denote the point at which two streams merge together or a river joins with a sea or a lake or a reservoir. A channel is a depression created by constant stream erosion that carries the stream's water. The term stream bed refers to the bottom of a stream. A gauging station is normally located along the route of a stream or a river for measuring the discharge of water of that river. Talweg is a term used to denote a river's longitudinal section or the line joining the deepest point in the channel at each stage from source to mouth. The term wetted perimeter is used to denote the line on which a stream's surface meets the channel walls. Stages of stream development is a unique aspect. Precipitation gives rainfall. Running water over the land produces slope wash. The slope wash of rainwater flowing on the land creates a stream channel. It is called as a stream erosion. Stream valleys form through stream erosion and mass wasting processes. Small rills developed by erosion become deeper and wider downstream by several processes. The major processes are downcutting, lateral erosion and headward erosion. Downcutting is the first process. Water has the ability to dissolve and carry substances when it flows. Downcutting is the primary action of flowing water. It represents downward erosion of the stream channel. It occurs when the stream energy exceeds the stream's load and causes valleys to be narrow and steep sided. This action creates canyons and gorges along the river courses. Lateral erosion is the second process. Lateral erosion is yet another process done by a flowing water mass. It undermines the part of a river bank or the valley walls. Lateral erosion also leads to mass wasting and widening of the valley. This process is enhanced by sheet erosion and rill erosion. It causes formation of V-shaped valleys which are common along the stream courses. Headward erosion is the final stage. It involves lengthening of the valley upstream by erosion of headwater up to divide areas. Sometimes it can also result in the creation of stream piracy. It diverts a part of a stream's drainage into another stream. It happens because of the headward erosion of another stream located adjacent to one stream. River valleys are developed in stages. There are three mechanisms involved in the river valley development like deepening, lengthening and widening. A river and its valley go through these three major stages as youthful stage, mature stage and old stage. The longitudinal profile of a river is also yet another important aspect. The longitudinal profile of a stream is a plot of elevation versus distance of a stream along its flow path. It usually shows a steep gradient near the source of the stream and a gentle gradient as the stream approaches its mouth. There is yet another parameter called base level of a stream. The base level of a stream is defined as the bottommost level below which a stream cannot erode its channel. For streams that empty into the oceans, the base level is always the sea level. Local base levels can also occur where the stream meets a resistant body of a rock or a dam. A stream's velocity is a major factor to be studied in geomorphology, hydrology and civil engineering. A stream's velocity depends on the location in the stream channel, irregularities in the stream channel caused by resistant rocks and the slope of the stream. The average velocity is the time it takes a given particle of water to traverse a given distance. A stream flow can be either laminar or turbulent. In laminar flow, all water molecules travel along similar parallel paths. In turbulent flow, the individual particles take irregular paths. Turbulent flow can keep the sediments in suspension longer than the laminar flow. It also aids in the erosion of a stream bottom. Average linear velocity is greater in laminar flow than in turbulent flow. The sediment load is an important aspect. The sediment load in a stream is a major part. The rock particles and dissolved ions carried by the stream are called as the stream's sediment load. A stream's sediment load is divided into three parts as suspended load, bed load and dissolved load. The suspended load is one in which the particles are carried away along with the water in the main part of the streams. The size of these particles depend on their density and also the velocity of the stream flow. Higher velocity currents in a stream can carry larger and denser particles. The bed load of a stream contains both coarser and denser particles that remain on the bed of the stream most of the time. These move by a process called saltation or jumping. It is also possible that the sediments can move between bed load and suspended load as the velocity of the stream changes. The dissolved load of a stream denotes the ions that have been introduced into the water by chemical weathering of rocks. This load is invisible because the ions are dissolved in the water. The dissolved load consists mainly of bicarbonate ions, calcium ions, sulfates, chloride, sodium, magnesium and potassium ions. These ions are carried finally towards the oceans. They ultimately increase the salinity of the oceans. A lot of changes happen along the downstream course of a river. Along a stream in the downstream direction, several changes happen. The river water discharge increases. When water is aided to the main stream from many tributaries and groundwater, the river discharge increases. As the river discharge increases, the width, depth and average velocity of the stream increase simultaneously. The gradient or slope of the stream will also decrease because of the erosional activities. Let us see the second part, the types of streams. Streams are classified into various types. They are perennial or ephemeral streams, intermediate streams, consequent streams, subsequent streams, obsequent streams, superimposed drainage and antecedent drainage. Perennial or ephemeral streams are the first categories. A stream with water flowing all through the year is called as a perennial stream. These are non-stop rivers. Continuous rainfall during monsoons, melting of mountainous snow or ice in the winter create the supply of water continuously in these perennial rivers. The intermittent streams are ephemeral streams. These are streams which have sources of water supplied periodically. There will not be any flow of water during summer in these streams. A large number of streams in the peninsular India belong to this category. Consequent streams are yet another groups. These are streams developed along the slope of the region. Their courses are fully influenced by the slopes and natural irregularities of the land. Their size grows due to headward erosion, valley deepening and widening. They develop their own tributaries. The next category is the subsequent streams. After the development of consequent streams, they develop secondary slopes and tributaries with valleys. These are called as subsequent streams. Tributaries developed at nearly right angles to the main stream in these. The third one is the obsequent streams. Some of the tributaries may not flow at right angles to the main stream. They even flow on opposite direction to that of the main stream. These are called as obsequent streams. The rock strata may be the major causative factor for such developments. The next category belongs to the superimposed drainage. Sometimes the original river course may be covered with a sedimentary bed and new drainages develop over that. The underlying strata controls these drainages. These are called as superimposed drainages. The last one is the antecedent drainage system. Rivers take a new course when there is a tectonic movement of crustal blocks. Due to mountain building and other tectonic displacements, a river may take a new course or new direction of flow in some other direction, leaving its original course. Such streams are called as antecedent drainages. Presence of acute bends may indicate such streams. Rivers are distributed drainage systems. Every river carries the rainwater from the catchment zone to the point of confluence. Water divides separate the boundaries between one basin to the other. In mountainous terrain and ghats, due to flatness in topographic conditions, the imaginary drainage divide may not have significance. Large amounts of rainwater of one river basin will flow into that of another river basin. This situation is called as river piracy. This happens when a water divide passes through a common depression at the place of origin. The catchment water of a river flows towards the opposite river. When the river stage is well above the water divide, this condition arises. This is a purely temporary phenomena occurring during heavy rainfall. This is a unique case and will not be taken into account for any legal water conflicts in any river basins. The third important aspect is related to the drainage patterns. Drainage is the movement of water mainly derived from the rain, snowfall or melting of ice or snow. It is the overland flow of water which results in the discharge of water into the sea. The spatial distribution of rivers and their tributaries can form many types of patterns called as drainage patterns. The term drainage pattern refers to a network of stream channels and their tributaries as determined by the local geological and geomorphological conditions. They are also called as drainage networks. Drainage patterns are classified on the basis of their form and texture. Their shape or pattern develops in response to the local topography and the subsurface geology. Distinctive patterns are acquired by the stream networks in consequence of the adjustment to the subsurface geological structures. The pattern of fluvial dissection of a landscape is of considerable importance in understanding the structural influence on the evolution of these drainages. Let us see the types of drainage patterns. There are several kinds of drainage patterns observed on various places. The notable ones are dendritic drainage pattern, parallel drainage pattern, trellis drainage pattern, rectangular drainage pattern, radial drainage pattern, centripetal drainage pattern, annular drainage pattern and deranged drainage pattern. Let us see the dendritic drainage pattern. Dendritic drainage pattern is the most widely seen drainage pattern in the whole world. It represents like a tree structure. It develops in regions underlain by homogeneous geological materials. That is, the subsurface geology has a similar resistance to weathering, so that There is no apparent control over the direction of flow of water in the tributaries. Most of the tributaries join the larger streams at acute angles, that is less than 90 degrees. The word dendritic refers to a branching tree like drainage pattern. It originates in areas of uniform rock with little distortion by folding or faulting. The rivers develop a random branching network similar to that of a tree. Let us see the parallel drainages. Parallel drainage patterns form where there is pronounced slope to the surface. A parallel pattern also develops in regions of parallel elongate landforms like outcropping resistant rock bands. A parallel pattern also develops in regions of parallel elongate landforms like outcropping resistant rock bands. The tributary streams tend to stretch out in a parallel like fashion following the slope of the surface. A parallel pattern sometimes indicates the presence of a major fault that cut across an area of steeply folded bedrock. All forms of transitions can occur between parallel, dendritic and trellis patterns. Let us see the trellis drainage pattern. Trellis drainage pattern look similar to their namesake, the common garden trellis. Trellis drainage develops in folded topography. Downturned folds called synclines form valleys in which resides the main channel of the stream. Short tributary streams enter the main channel at sharp angles as they run down sides of the parallel ridges called anticlines. Tributaries join the main stream at nearly right angles. The rectangular drainage pattern is found in regions that have undergone faulting. Streams follow the path of least resistance. They are concentrated in places where the exposed rock is the weakest. Movement of the surface due to faulting offsets the direction of the stream. As a result, the tributary streams make shapes bend and enter the main stream at high angles. The next one is the radial drainage. The radial drainage pattern develops around a centrally elevated point. This pattern is common to such conically shaped features like volcanoes. The tributary streams extend the headward direction and reach up to the top of the volcanoes. The next one is the radial drainage. Radial drainage is typical of volcanic cones so long as they remain more or less intact. Erosion to the skeletal state often leaves these types of drainages along the slopes of the volcanic domes. Let us see the next one, the features of river courses. The typical features of streams are drainage networks, canyons and gorges, waterfalls, interflows, floodplains, meanders, deltas and oxbow lakes. There are several features associated with these streams. The notable ones are superposed streams, stream terraces, incised meanders, waterfalls and rapids. Superposed streams are streams that appear to have cut through a ridge or mountain lying in their path, creating water gaps. A water gap forms when streams cut down through overlying strata to expose a buried ridge or mountain. Stream terraces are set of nearly flat surfaces bordering a steep slope along a stream bank. These are called as river terraces. Terrace cultivation is practiced along these surfaces. They represent the erosional remnants of an old floodplain surface left as terraces because of the renewed stream downcutting. Meandering is a sinuous pattern of river flow. Incised meanders develop when a stream erodes downward to the bedrocks. Erosion creates deep meandering canyons with no floodplains if there is little lateral erosion. They also create natural bridges if lateral erosion does take place. A waterfall is the vertical fall of river water along a cliff or a vertical slope along the river course. Waterfalls can form where resistant rock units are underlain by non-resistant rock units when the stream flows over the cliffs formed by glaciers or faulting. Interflow is the portion between two or more streams. Floodplains are the areas adjacent to the river banks drained during high water flowing seasons. Rapids are typically caused by resistant rock units outcropping in the stream channels. Streams are also developed over structurally controlled strata. There are three kinds of streams encountered in such terrain. One is the strike streams flowing along the direction of strikes. Another one is the dip stream flowing along the direction of dip. The third one is the anti-dip stream flowing on the opposite direction of the dip. The fifth aspect is related to the drainage basin. A drainage basin is a hydrological unit covering the entire catchment zone of a river and its tributaries. The river and its tributaries and their catchment zones are called as a drainage system. Each stream in a drainage system drains over a certain area called as a drainage basin. In a single drainage basin, all water falling in the catchment zone drains into the same stream. Drainage basins can range in size from a few square kilometers to extremely large areas of mega rivers of the world like Amazon, Nile and the Ganges, covering several thousand square kilometers. A drainage basin is a hydrological catchment zone. It collects and drains the surface water through its network of streams. There will be an outlet point of confluence for every stream. River mouth is a confluencing point at the sea front. All water will drain only through a single outlet. Budgeting of a water resource is possible when the inputs of a drainage basin is considered. It is commonly called as a river basin. A drainage basin has its own area of catchment. It differs from another drainage system. The line of demarcation between two such basins is known as basin divide. A drainage basin is a portion of the earth's surface occupied by a main stream and its tributaries separated from adjacent basin by a drainage divide. Stream ordering is an important analysis in fluvial geomorphology. A stream starts its course as a single line initially. It flows and connects with similar lines of streams along its path and joins further in the form of a network. The width, depth and discharge level increases when more and more streams join together. Stream ordering methods have been proposed by various workers like Grevelius, Woldenbergs, Horton, Strahler, Shreve and Scheidegger. Strahler's stream ordering is a popular method. Strahler, a notable earth scientist, has proposed a simple stream ordering method for computing the number of streams and the level of streams. The smallest stream in a drainage network has no tributary. These are called as first order streams. Two first order streams unite together to form a second order stream. The second order streams only have the first order streams as their tributaries. Two second order streams unite together to form a third order stream. The third order streams only have second and first order streams as their tributaries. This order of ranking continues. Sometimes the main stream may become 8th or 9th order. As the order of the stream increases, the discharge increases, the gradient decreases, the velocity of water flowing in the stream increases and the channel dimensions including the width and depth also increases to accommodate the increased water flow. Streams are a major source of water and transportation for the world's human population. Most thickly populated cities and centers are located adjacent to the major rivers of the world. Studying rivers and their development is an interesting aspect in the subject of geomorphology.